All right, Nate, let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs reigning Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. You know, we're legally obligated to say that now, let everybody know. Once again, back-to-back Super Bowl champion Chiefs. Very, very interesting offseason for the Chiefs. There's a lot of moves that are going to have to be made with this team to try to keep everything in line. There's one player in particular that I think is very important to this team, and it sounds like the Chiefs have made a bold statement regarding one of their key defenders on defense. Let's get into the article and then we can talk about it on the other side. This, of course, over on X, as Jeremy Fowler at Jay Fowler on ESPN says, the Chiefs have informed L'Jarius Sneed that they are prepared to use the franchise tag and are open to consummate a trade off if it no longer a deal is reached. Per source, Sneed is agreeable to the scenario, giving him a chance to talk with other teams while Kansas City remains in play. Nick, I think this is a very interesting option going from the Chiefs side. I really like what they're doing here. Curious what your thoughts are on this one, but Kansas City fans, in the comment section below, let us know what you think about this scenario with L'Jarius Sneed. He's obviously a very prolific player for the Chiefs, very good on the defensive side of the ball. Let us know, do you think the Chiefs should get a deal done, or would you want to see what he could potentially fetch on the free market? I'm sure he'd be worthy of a big trade package. Let us know in the comment section below. But Nick, what are your thoughts on this tweet regarding the Chiefs?
So I think this is just further proof that the Chiefs, they're just better at this than everybody in the NFL in terms of being roster managing, dealing with players, handling the offseason and things like that. And look, there are other smart, well-run teams. We think the Lions are smart and well-run. We think the Baltimore Ravens, they're a smart, well-run football team as well. The 49ers are very smart, very well-run. The Eagles front office is outstanding as well. But the Kansas City Chiefs are just head and shoulders above everybody else. And this is why, because they crush every factor possible in negotiations. And let me explain. So first and foremost, right? Okay, how can we keep a great player on our roster short term? All right, we're going to franchise tag him immediately. But when you franchise tag a player, the first thing that's going to happen is that player's going to hate it. He's not going to like it. His morale is going to dip, potential locker room issue, all kind of problems emerge. So what do? You say, hey, we want to franchise tag you. We have to, buddy. It's a salary cap. It's the way it is. Hey, man, you know how it is. But tell you what, you go negotiate with other teams. And if somebody else wants to give you a big deal, God bless you. So L'Jarius Sneed gets franchise tagged, and at first he's thinking he's mad, he's upset, but he's like, oh no, I can still negotiate like I'm a free agent. Cool. Thanks, Kansas City. I've got all kinds of great feelings about the Chiefs right now. But here's what the Chiefs just did. If any other team now wants to poach L'Jarius Sneed and sign him to a big deal, they're negotiating not with Sneed or not just with L'Jarius Sneed. They're negotiating with the Kansas City Chiefs in terms of giving up a lot to acquire Sneed. So let's go through these scenarios right here. No matter what, L'Jarius Sneed is happy. So you're not hurting your locker room. You're not hurting your chemistry. You're not messing around with anything like that. The worst case scenario for the Kansas City Chiefs is they trade L'Jarius Sneed, free up some cap space, and get a lot of assets to rebuild and replace L'Jarius Sneed. And look, as good as the Chiefs draft, I think they'd probably be able to do it, at least get close to it. I know Sneed's a great player, but let's be honest, the way the Kansas City Chiefs have drafted over the past few years, I wouldn't surprise if they went out and got a player or players that equated to his caliber. But that's the worst case scenario. The best case scenario, they get another year of L'Jarius Sneed on a team-friendly 1-year short-term deal that allows the Chiefs to make another run at a third straight title. This is just being smarter than everybody else. Other teams, when they franchise tag players, the players upset. Just the morale, the connection to the front office, it's broken. We've seen it time and time and time again. We've seen other teams getting real headstrong negotiations where everybody's at odds and it disrupts the offseason. The Ravens did that with Lamar Jackson. Nothing here with Kansas City. It's clean. It's out in the open. L'Jarius Sneed, go do your thing. Sneed's happy. Thanks. I appreciate that. The Chiefs know what's going to happen one way or the other. Everyone's on board, everyone's above board, and the Chiefs, no matter what happens, they win. They either get some more cap space and a lot of assets by trading L'Jarius Sneed, or number two, they get Sneed to come back on a 1-year deal that's a fair price for the football team. This is why Brett Veach and his staff, they are better than everybody else. They've proven it time and time again that they're just smarter and more effective. We know Mahomes is great. We know Andy Reid's an all-time great coach. Kelsey's fantastic. Go down the list, yada, yada, yada. But the intelligence of the front office and how they handle these situations, not just in terms of collecting and building a team and building talent, not just handling the player in terms of his emotions, the continuity, the relationships, and things like that. It's the whole package that no one comes close. The Kansas City Chiefs, with a move like this, prove once again they're head and shoulders above their competition.
Yeah, Nate, and I think the Baltimore Ravens comp is very interesting as well. because the Ravens were in a similar situation with Lamar Jackson, but at the end of the day, it was kind of different at the same way as well. The Ravens were forced to put, an unrestricted free agent, like the franchise tag on Lamar Jackson. It was kind of a different situation where he was able to go out and negotiate with other teams, but the Ravens were never really gonna let him go. It was some weird, type of leverage where no other team ended up really taking the bait. They were going to match whatever offer was put out there. The Chiefs are in a different situation, a much better situation, where Lamar Jackson not very happy with the situation he was put in. L'Jarius Sneed's probably like, okay, well, either I'm gonna get what I think I'm worth, or I'm gonna have to go back to the Chiefs and they, play on the franchise tag, which isn't the best money that I'm gonna get. But honestly, I'm on a team that has a really good chance to win a Super Bowl again. That's not too bad for me either. So I think L'Jarius Sneed, great situation. The Chiefs are in a great situation. And when both parties are happy, I think that's the best possible option. And you always end up getting the best results. Because if one person's disgruntled and the other side's kind of playing hardball, it really, like you said, it just kind of harshes the mood in the locker room, really kind of upsets the boat for a little while. The Ravens, rocky situation there for a long time with Lamar Jackson. It was up and down. Players were having to be non-committal. Like, well, obviously we support a guy Lamar, but we want him to come back. It was a really tough situation for them. Chiefs, completely different situation. Everyone seems happy. L'Jarius Sneed gets what he wants. The Chiefs, one way or the other, are going to get what they want. And I think, like you said, Veach and Co., great job, really sound negotiating here. And I think it's going to, once again, put the Chiefs back on top going into the AFC as potential repeat Super Bowl champion contender.
And especially Lamar Jackson thing, I think is such a great thing to talk about because you remember, right? It was such a distraction, right? It was always in the news, and it's not just because he was a quarterback; it was because of just the whole situation. And the dynamic wasn't handled very well, and the Chiefs handled these things better than anybody else. In fact, even the Bengals with T. Higgins, there was a little animosity, a little concern coming out of the T. Higgins camp. Higgins was like, "Well, maybe I want to go play somewhere else. Maybe I'm not happy in Cincinnati." Right? There was a little bit of headbutting there going on. And there still is, even though the Bengals have decided to apply the franchise tag to their star wide receiver. Nothing out of the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, Brett Veach and company, they handle it perfectly. They get L'Jarius Sneed. It almost is worded, right? Like L'Jarius Sneed agreed to this. Like it was L'Jarius Sneed's idea. I almost kind of wonder if in the negotiations, Veach and his team was able to get Sneed and his team to basically make it think that it was Sneed's idea. And that way they're so happy to go along with it. Again, it's just next level negotiation. It's next level roster management. And I think this is what separates the Kansas City Chiefs current dynasty from the Patriots dynasty, that 2-decade run they had, because Bill Belichick was cold, ruthless, business-like, absolutely cutthroat, and there's no doubt it worked, right? And of course, all the success in the Super Bowls they had. But it left a lot of animosity. And I think that hurt the Patriots in some situations. They left some wins and maybe a title or two on the board. The Chiefs are taking a different approach. And I think when it's all said and done, I don't know how many Super Bowls Mahomes will end up with. It's really hard to get to Brady's number. It's really hard to get to Belichick's number. But I wouldn't be surprised if they get really close because this different approach, it keeps the core of teams together longer. It keeps the whole locker room together in a better situation, allows you to weather strong locker rooms, allow you to weather mid-season issues like the Chiefs had this past season. Again, it's all part of the formula. And once again, the Kansas City Chiefs are proving they're head and shoulders above the rest of the competition.